Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to our virtual science classroom with your teacher Daryl Del Mundo, and welcome back to our week number 6 of quarter 3. Okay, so we are at the second to the last topic of our third quarter. So before anything else, may I request everyone to please say this prayer. Thank you so much for this wonderful prayer. And Ms. Secretary, kindly collect and check the attendance of our boys and girls for today. Okay, and do not forget to send it in our group chat so that I can record at the same time. And now, our topic for quarter 3, week number 6 is all about heat transfer. So, tungkol lahat to sa apoy. Sabihin natin, we are going to discuss also about the energy of heat at the same time, the methods of heat transfer. Paano nga ba napapasa ang init? Okay? Paano dumadaloy ang init? Okay, so let's start. Basically, it is all about heat and energy transfer. We know that heat is also a form of energy. So, malalaman natin how this energy is being transferred, okay, from one material to another material. And these supplementary learning materials will help us to learn for lesson number 1, what is heat. Basically, we are going to identify and discuss about heat. And for lesson number 2, about heat transfer or the different methods of heat transfer. Okay, those are the 2 lessons that we need to learn. But let's have a short recap on what we have tackled way back on our first quarter. Okay, so analyze the following examples and identify the process involved when water changes its state. So, di ba alam natin ang tubig, nababago siya ng state, solid, liquid, and gas. Then select from the choices below and write your answer on the spaces provided. So, pipili kayo ng freezing, melting, condensation, evaporation, or precipitation. Okay, let's have an example. Let's look at this one for picture number 3. This is an ice, which is the solid form of water. Now, what do you think is the process involved here? Okay, very good. The correct answer is freezing. So this one, the process involved is freezing. When water turns into solid, that is freezing process. Okay, so magiging ice na siya. So you will do the rest. And for letter B, all you have to do is to analyze the following example and identify whether our heat conductor or insulator. Write your answers on the spaces provided. So, pag sinabi natin conductor, heat conductor, meaning to say, heat can flow or travel in this material. Pag sinabi naman natin insulator, these are the materials that heat cannot transfer. Okay? So, in basic terms, conductor, dinadaluyan ng init. Insulator, hindi dinadaluyan ng init. Okay? So, let's have an example. For number 1, metal spoons. What do you think of it? Is it conductor or insulator? Metal. Very good. This is an example of conductor. So, yan ang conductor, metal. Kasi alam natin that metal is a good conductor of heat. Okay, so for lesson number 1, let's talk about what is heat. As a brief introduction, heat and temperature are 2 different but closely related concepts. Scientists define heat as thermal energy transferred between 2 systems at different temperatures that come in contact. Heat is written using the symbol of small q or big letter Q, and its unit is joules. This one, letter J, big letter J. Heat is also expressed in units called calories. Sounds familiar, right? So kapag marasado kayong mga nakakain o nai-install na fats sa katawan nyo, yan yung mga calories. Okay? And 1 calorie is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water to 1 degrees Celsius. So, yun ang importante. And also calories, ito yung nagbibigay ng init ng katawan natin. So, the more na mas marami kang calories sa katawan, the more na mas mainit ang katawan mo. Okay? And also, temperature on the other hand, kasi minsan napagpapalit or siguro napagpapareho nila ang heat and temperature. But in reality, temperature reacts with heat. Okay? On the other hand, it refers to the average of kinetic energy of the molecules of matter. Mamaya malalaman niyo why kinetic energy of the molecules of water. Anong kinalaman ng molecules nito sa temperature? Okay? Temperature is expressed in Kelvin, letter K, degrees Celsius, like this one. And then we have degrees Fahrenheit, this one. The basic unit of temperature in the International System of Units or SI system is Kelvin. So this is the standard. Okay, but we commonly use a derived unit for temperature in the SI system, which is the degrees Celsius. Here in our country, ginagamit natin ay degrees Celsius. But in other country, like in Western, they use like Kelvin, they use degrees Fahrenheit. Especially may kita nyo lagi to sa weather forecast natin, degrees Celsius. It has two main reference points. The freezing point of water, which is at 0 degrees Celsius, and the boiling point of water, which is at 100 degrees Celsius. So pag nakita nyo na ang tubig, naging yellow. Therefore, ibig sabihin nito that it reaches 0 degrees Celsius already. Pero kapag kumulo naman ng tubig, for example, nakita nyo na nagbabubble up na yung water. Okay? So that is when the time it reaches its 100 degrees Celsius. Okay? So makikita nyo dito yung temperature. Kapag mas mababa, mas malamig. Pag mas mataas, mas mainit ang temperature. Okay? So ganun na pagbasa ng temperature. Mas mataas yung level dito. Okay? Mas mainit. Kapag mababa, mas malamig ang temperature. And let's proceed to the next one. The instrument used to measure temperature is commonly known as the thermometer. So there are different types of thermometer being used nowadays. One of the commonly used during this time of pandemic due to COVID-19 to measure the body temperature is the thermal scanner. Ito yun, this one. Yeah. Okay. In airports, they are using the full body scanner. Yung parang may makikita doon na nakakulay red. Okay? So, basically, kapag normal temperature kayo lahat ng blue, pero kapag mas hotter yung katawan, okay, magiging red siya. So that person, okay, you will identify him or her is infected or it has a fever. So these instruments need not to have contact with the body of the person to take their temperature for health, safety. Unlike itong temperature na to, yan. So you need to put it under the armpit. Pwedeng sa bibig, pwede kahit saan sa katawan mo na makakapag-receive siya ng heat. Okay? Like in your armpit. Yan. Pwede usually sa armpit. May kilikili yung nilalagay. And nowadays, hindi na rin tayo gumagamit ng mercury sa mga ganitong mga glass thermometer natin. Kasi delikado ang mercury. Gumagamit na lang tayo ng alcohol. Especially sa mga laboratory temperature natin or thermometer to get the temperature of maybe yung experiment natin sa laboratory thermometer natin, alcohol ang nakalagay, yung kulay pula. Okay? And also, we know that when a system absorbs or loses heat, the average kinetic energy of the molecules will change. As we can see here, this is a warm weather. That's an example, okay? A warm weather, and the other one is cold weather. So in the cold weather, it has lesser kinetic energy, while in the warm weather, it has more kinetic energy, which are the molecules move rapidly in a warm air causing mercury to rise. Okay, kasi liquid metal ang mercury, so madali siyang mag-respond dun sa init. Okay? So the average kinetic energy of the molecules will change. It depends upon the temperature. Remember, mas malamig, mas mabagal ang galaw ng molecules, mas mababa ang temperature. na makikita mo sa thermometer. Kapag warm weather naman, masyadong mabilis ang galaw ng molecules. Okay? So the temperature will go up. Okay. Thus, heat transfer results in a change in the system's temperature. Using a thermometer, we can measure this change of temperature. How much heat flows depends not only on the temperature difference between substances, but on the amount of molecules in the system as well. The heat capacity tells us how much energy is needed to change the temperature in a given substance. So, yung kakayanan ng isang substance to hold the heat. So, yun, the heat capacity. And also, heat is sometimes called the process quantity because it is identified in the context as a process by which energy can be transferred. Heat is energy in transit. Ibig sabihin, it is moving through molecular collision from the hotter system to the cooler system, like this one, from hotter to cooler system. The thermal energy will flow in the direction until the two objects are the same temperature now. So when the two systems in contact are at the same temperature, we say that they are in thermal equilibrium, as you can see here. So until such time it reaches, okay, that the entire molecules or the entire material has the same temperature, that is the thermal equilibrium. Hanggang mainit na yan lahat. It reaches the same temperature. Okay? And also, thermal energy is the energy possessed by an object or system due to the movement of particles within the object or system, like this one. So, masyado silang excited kapag mainit. Parang tayo, kapag mainit na, summer na, lahat tayo mas mawiling gumalaw, lahat tayo gusto natin pumunta agad ng beach. Pero kapag mga colder weather, mas gusto lang natin magstay sa bahay at hindi tayo nagiging productive, right? So, the thermal energy is one of the various types of energy. This can be described as the ability of something to do work due to the movement of its particles, because thermal energy is due to the movement of these particles, okay? And at the same time, it is a type of kinetic energy, meaning to say moving. Thermal energy results in something having in an internal temperature. Okay, so what is internal temperature in internal energy? In internal energy, it refers to the grand total of all energies inside the substance. This is given by the random, disordered kinetic energy of the molecules. In addition, it includes the potential energy between these molecules and the nuclear energy contained in the atoms of these molecules. Internal energy and thermal are very similar in a basic thermodynamics context. Okay, so para mas malaman natin internal energy, it is the combination of the potential energy of the object, the kinetic energy of the object. In totality, that's the internal energy of the object. Okay? So, ito yung kanyang illustration. See? There you go. The grand total of all energies inside a substance, whether potential or kinetic. For lesson number 2, let's talk about heat transfer. So, sabi natin kanina, heat transfer from one to another because it flows from warmer to colder area, and then what happened until it reaches the same temperature of that in that object, then it reaches its thermal equilibrium. So nakita natin that heat can transfer, but how do heat transfer? Okay, paano nga ba sila nagpo-flow? Okay, so as you can see here, heat energy can be transferred from one body to another or to the other. To facilitate heat transfer between two bodies, there must be a temperature difference. So para makita nyo, magkaiba dapat yung temperature kung talaga bang na-transfer yung heat. The heat transfer of heat or the transfer of heat is from a warmer object to a cooler object. Meaning to say, warmer object increases in temperature and cooler object decreases in temperature. So this process will continue until what? It reaches what? The process will continue until they reach a common temperature, which is the thermal equilibrium, like this. Okay, look at this illustration here. So warmer, hotter objects will go up, meaning to say it increases the temperature, and then colder object decreases the temperature. So kapag yan ay nagpantay na, uminit na siya parehas, that is now the thermal equilibrium. And now these are the methods of heat transfer. So we have here conduction, convection, and then radiation. This is the best example where you can showcase the three methods or modes of heat transfer. So heat transfer may occur rapidly, such as through a cooking pan, so kung kayo nagluluto, or slowly, such as through the walls of a water jug. We can control rates of heat transfer by choosing materials, controlling air movement, or by choice of color of your clothes. Kapag mainit, huwag na kayo magsusuot ng color black or darker colors kasi it absorbs heat. So kapag summer, di ba, lighter colors yung sinusuot natin. Sa ibang bansa naman, yung uniform nila usually sa malalamig na lugar, darker yung kulay ng kanilang mga uniform. So that the heat will stay and absorb by their body as well. So, ayan ganon, di ba, sa mga Japanese movies, sa mga American high school na nakikita natin, mostly, bukod sa doble yung kanilang suot, darker color yung uniform nila. Sa Pilipinas naman, lighter colors. White, diba, yellow, pink, so ganun yun. And so many processes are involved in heat transfer. But in every process involving heat transfer, this can be classified into three methods, which are what we discussed a while ago. We have conduction, convection, and radiation. Now, let us chop the three. First one, conduction. Just look at these particles here. See? So, conduction is a heat transfer of energy from molecule to molecule. This happens when two objects at different temperatures are in contact with each other. Remember the word in contact. Okay? Yan yung heat transfer. Ibig sabihin, they can be transferred from a close contact, like solid. This one. Diba ang solid, ang particles na closely packed or contact to each other. Kaya mas mabilis mag-transfer ang heat sa solid because it is in contact and they are tightly packed together. While convection of heat can occur in liquids and gases. Tandaan, liquids and gases, the convection. It is the transfer of heat energy by means of moving the molecules of liquids or gases. So when the molecules of liquid or gas is heated, its density decreases cause it to rise. It causes it to rise. Kaya yung mainit, okay, umaangat, ayan, umaangat na tubig yan. Tapos yung malamig, bababa. Kaya kung mapapansin ka, di ba, kapag nagpapakulo kayo ng tubig, mainit yung lumalabas na hangin kagad because the water molecules that is heated up, it will go upward. Okay? Kaya siya nagkakaroon ng bubble effect because of that. And push the cooler molecules which is denser to take its place at the bottom. Pero kapag na-reach na yung thermal equilibrium, yung lahat ng tubig na yun, mainit na, it will boil eventually. Okay? Ito rin yung nangyayari sa magma natin. Okay? Di ba sa Earth's crust? Under the Earth's crust, puro magma na yan dun sa mantle. Okay, nagkakaroon tayo dun ng convection. Yung pag-ikot ng mga molten rocks on magma. Okay? And last, we have radiation. Radiation is a transfer of heat energy through space. It is a method of heat transfer that does not need any contact between the heat source and the heated object. So, ito, kahit wala siyang dadaluyan, it can pass through a space. Okay? Hindi katulad ni convection at ni conduction. Si conduction, kailangan ng solid. Si convection, kailangan ng air o ng gases, kailangan ng liquid. Okay? Pero si radiation, hindi na kailangan. Katulad ng sunlight. Okay? It can pass through the space. And things to remember, class, before we end. Temperature is the average kinetic energy of the molecules of matter, measured in degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit, and Kelvin. Heat refers to the energy that flows from a substance of a higher temperature to a substance of lower temperature, commonly measured in calories or joules. Thermal energy is the energy possessed by an object due to the movement of particles within the object, while internal energy is the total of all the molecular energies, the kinetic and potential energies. So these are the methods of heat transfer. Conduction. They transfer the heat energy from molecule to molecule. This happens when two objects at different temperatures are in contact with each other. Heat flows from warmer to cooler objects until they are both at the same temperature. Number two, convection can occur in liquids and gases. It is the transfer of heat energy by means of moving molecules of liquid or gases. When the molecules of the liquid or gases is heated, its density decreases, causes it to rise, and push the cooler molecules, which is denser, to take its place at the bottom. The moving liquid or gas carries energy with it. Number three, radiation. Radiation is the transfer of heat energy to space. It is a method of heat transfer that does not need any contact between the heat source and the heated object. Heat from the sun reaches the earth through radiation. Okay, clear? And also, an object that allows heat to pass through are called conductors. Solid are better conductor than liquids, and liquids are better conductor than gases. Metals are very good conductors of heat, especially metals. Okay? Yung mga metals na yan, sobrang good conductor of heat yan, hindi lang ng electricity. While air is a very poor conductor of heat. Silver is the best conductor. Objects that do not allow heat to pass through are called insulators. Examples of insulators or poor conductors are wood, paper, wool, and plastic, also rubber. Okay? So let's beat the heat. Let's apply what we have learned. Why SPF is important? So maybe you are using lotion, sunscreen. So some of the beauty products or the skin products that we are using is with SPF. Yeah, usually we get SPF 10, SPF 30, SPF 50, SPF 100. Okay? So ganun yung makita natin. So why SPF is important? And what is SPF? Okay? So it is important because SPF or sun protection factor helps to protect our skin. It's very important from the direct heat of the sun, especially during summertime, lalo na sa Pilipinas at sa may init na lugar. Okay, it is a must that we should protect our skin with sunscreen with SPF. Okay, must be applied 30 minutes before. So kapag nakagamit ka ng SPF 50, mga 98% you are protected from the ultraviolet rays. Kasi may ultraviolet rays A, ultraviolet ray B. So yung B yung mas harm sa skin natin, especially kapag sobrang init na ng araw. Kung kayo, may plano kayong lumabas, mag-beach at magbabad sa init ng araw, do not forget to use sunscreen. Okay? Yung mga gantong klaseng refreshing sun lotion na yan. Okay, whatever it is, as long as it has SPF, use it and apply it on your skin. Okay? Ingatan yung skin nyo kasi ang init, it can cause a lot of wrinkles. And let's heat and eat. Another application of this one is a microwave cooking. Microwave radiation utilizes short, high-frequency waves that penetrate the food, which agitates its water molecules to create friction and transfer heat. If you're heating a solid substance, this heat energy is transferred throughout the food through conduction, while liquids do so through convection. Diba? Kapag gumagamit tayo ng microwave, yung ulam natin ang init-init because it can pass to inside the food that we are eating. Not just with the container, but it's inside the food. So that's how microwave apply to heat transfer. Kapag solid, alam natin conduction. But through air, that is through convection and liquid as well. Okay, so that's how microwave works in cooking food or heating your food. And before we finish this one, do not forget to answer the following questions. Okay, watch this video, you watch this one, and answer the different activities and exercises in your modules in the Google Classroom. Okay, for lesson number 1, pages 3 to 4, that's the pre-test, and pages 6 to 7 for lesson number 2, pages 9, 10 to 11 for the post-test. Okay, so if you have any questions, suggestions, or clarifications, do not be hesitant to contact me in my social media accounts. Okay, you can reach me through that, and especially to my you can the me, okay, sa ating group chat or dun sa Facebook page. Kapag hindi mo gumagana, you can make use of your Instagram. Okay? And I hope you learned something about heat transfer. Let us learn more and be excited to learn about science. And that's all for now. Goodbye. God bless you and have a nice day, everyone.